Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to No Timeouts, a football show presented by Kal Tire, Canada's destination for Nitto tires. We're coming at you from the Score Studio. My name is Jonah Birenbaum. That is Tyler MacKillop. That is Dan Wilkins. That is Zak McDonald. You know them. You love them. Hard to believe, boys, that we're almost a quarter of the way into the 2025 campaign, and Week 4 was maybe the wildest week yet of the young season. The Chiefs overpowered the Ravens to get back to 500 and drop Baltimore to 1-3. The previously undefeated Chargers suffered their first loss at the hands of the new-look Giants, and we got our first tie of 2025. Packers-Cowboys ended up finishing 40-40 on Sunday night, resulting in the NFL's first tie since 2022. Nobody was happy about that. I want to hear your guys' thoughts. Wilk, what stood out to you in Week 4?
Do you remember last week when I said that I wasn't planning to hit the panic button for whichever team between the Chiefs and the Ravens dropped to 1-3? I meant it at the time, but after what happened with the Ravens and the way they lost, I changed my mind. I think that they're in trouble. I mean, losing to the Chiefs, obviously not a big deal in a vacuum, but just the way that went down, I'm pretty concerned about this team. First of all, on defense, it's really clear that after 4 games, I know it's only been 4 games, but they are not the same unit that really dominated over the second half of last season. They're getting pushed around against the run. I think they're still having trouble finding any sort of consistent pass rush. And then in this last game, injuries really started to hit. Nnamdi Madubuike was already out. And then against the Chiefs, they lost Nate Wiggins, they lost Marlon Humphrey, and Roquan Smith. On offense, the upside is obviously
Lamar for a little while too, like a string, right?
The offense, the upside there with the offense is it's still there, but they've got this really weird tendency to abandon the run when you have Derrick Henry at running back. Lamar Jackson was just not good enough when trying to do it all himself against the Chiefs, and like you mentioned, he's hurt now too. So is Ronnie Stanley. So the injuries are really starting to pile up on both sides of the ball. If it weren't for that, you could probably convince me that this team still has a chance to, put it all together and make a run down the stretch. But man, even as good as this roster is, it hasn't been good enough so far. And I think that if Lamar misses time and a bunch of these other stars are out for the next couple weeks, they could have another couple losses on the way, and I think that that's going to dig them too big a hole to climb out of, which is it's crazy to say because I was super high on this team coming in, and I think I had them as my Super Bowl loser to the Packers, but I can't believe that they didn't get it done last year when they had their chance.
I mean, there's no team in a better position to deal with these struggles than being in the AFC North, though. I mean, you're still a favorite to win the division. The Steelers have been pretty back and forth seesaw-wise. Like, I think we all know the Bengals roster cannot afford the loss of Joe Burrow. And then who am I missing? I'm missing we got Steelers.
The Browns.
The Browns, yeah. I missed the Browns. The Browns, yeah. And the Browns I don't think are a big threat to the win of the division. So I think we saw it in the preseason, and we've seen it in the first couple of weeks, is that I mean, the Ravens were a favorite on the road in Kansas City.
Yeah.
This team has a lot of respect in the market. Like, as someone who bets on these games, like, I've noticed that the power rating for the Ravens amongst the smartest people in football is like, this is the best team in the league. So I think if they're healthy, like, the run issues are definitely Madubuike is one of the most underrated players, I think, in the entire league when it comes to his job against the run and rushing the passer. So I think if they get healthy, I'm not too concerned yet.
If you're a team that you needed to be a team that is going to rip off like 11 or like 10 wins in a row or something like that, the Ravens are the team to do that. Mm-hmm. We've seen that every single regular season. I guess the question that I'm curious about, like, is it the injuries, or is it this core actually has like low-key been together for a while? They've had those high peaks of, 2023, they had like a great team. Is the window like slowly closing, or is it just an injury thing? If this whole team was fully healthy, would they still be really good?
I think they've definitely benefited from the last few years of getting like massive seasons from guys nobody expected, especially defensively, like pass rush wise. Like there's not a lot of names people know in Baltimore from their pass rush. But guys like a Kyle Van Noy comes in and has a monster season. I'm pretty sure he had a career year. Was it last year or the year before?
Yeah.
Or Jadeveon Clowney comes in and plays at a high level. Madubuike was someone they didn't expect to play at a high level. They take shots on some guys in the draft that have injury concerns and they think they can develop. So right now, though, that's not hitting because of the injuries. They're just not rushing the passer all that well, and it's not helping their secondary that hasn't looked good either.
Yeah, it's hard to rip off 10 wins in 11 games when you're giving up 33 points a game, right? That's the worst mark in the NFL. Only twice in franchise history has this team started off 1-3. That was 10 years ago in 2015, 20 years ago in 2005. Both of those seasons were losing seasons. Not a great start. Not a great start. And
Yeah.
that's despite the fact that outside of this past week, Lamar is putting up another historic season. Like, he leads the NFL in passing touchdowns. He leads the NFL in QB rating. And they're 1-3. This is a big hole.
I mean, Lions, Chiefs, and Bills.
No, it has not been an easy schedule.
Right?
I know. But look, to be the best, you got to be the best.
Yeah.
What stood out to you in week 4?
I wouldn't say stood out, but I think we should probably talk about Jackson Dart's debut. I don't think we learned too much. The 11-man run game was nice between him and Cam Scadaboo, who looks to be the number one back in New York, which is really nice for them, I think. That was the biggest thing, I think, in terms of takeaway for me, is like they're going to use Jackson Dart in the run game quite a bit, and that was beneficial in this one against the Chargers. But, I mean, this offense got a lot of help, some short fields and the turnovers. They weren't, after that first drive, they didn't execute really well in the red zone. Dart didn't really push the ball downfield too much. Neighbor's injury obviously affects that as well. But there's some intangible stuff that I thought went really well. They were 7 of 15 on third down. There were a couple of key plays I thought Dart made to be able to move the chains. There was a couple times deep in their own territory where they converted on third down that really saved them.
You see the play where he's running outside of the pocket and he calls the guy back.
I think
right?
it was not Sterling Shepard, Slate. I think he waved back Slate and got to him. Yeah.
And he made like a really great throw on the sidelines, and it's like that for a guy literally starting in his first game. That's really impressive to see.
Yeah, I think that we'll learn more. It's really tough for him to be without Neighbors now and losing the number one option. So they get the Saints this week. We'll get a little bit more, but I mean he did a good job of managing the offense and being able to get out of there with a win, but the Chargers did a lot to help them in this game.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing with this change was that he was immediately going to give them some way to overcome their offensive line issues just by his ability to extend plays. Like, that's not a thing with Russ anymore. He's going to be able to break the pocket when a play breaks down. You can use him on design runs, like you mentioned. So that's huge. The passing, to me, is going to be a work in progress throughout the season. And with like your point, without Neighbors, it's going to be a problem. He's taking a lot of sacks. He has to be able to take care of himself rather than taking the big hits that he does. But yeah, I mean, I'm at least interested that he's playing now because I had seen enough with Russ. Like we didn't need to do that anymore.
He had was it 2.98 seconds to throw, which was like I think the 5th most on the week. Took 5 sacks against the Chargers defense that doesn't have a lot of talent up front right now. So I think that's something you see from a lot of young quarterbacks, is hanging onto the ball a bit. But
he's the only QB to start his career with a win over a 3-0 or better team. Nice. And I know that this is like a big
don't
point.
care about that.
It's such a big point of
Chargers
consternation
between
between T-Mac, Wilkie, and I. Like, they don't like the quarterback win thing. I do like the quarterback win thing because I think that it matters when a quarterback takes an 0-3 team and goes in and wins a game against a really good team in his first week as a starter. And I think that the things that you're talking about, the passing, all of this kind of stuff like that, he's obviously a very talented thrower of the ball. He's got a great arm. Those intangibles that lead him to winning the games, making big plays on third down, being willing to put his shoulder down, sort of Jalen Hurts type stuff. I think that those create an environment where these passers actually can develop because they're playing long enough to win the games, and winning games and making winning plays ultimately is an extremely important part of being a quarterback. And Jackson Dart displayed those qualities. And I think that if I was a Giants fan, I would be absolutely thrilled.
Oh, they
to
should
have
absolutely be
Dart.
excited. I just don't want Tim Tebow's QB win stats thrown around.
I mean,
I just that doesn't do it for me. I'm glad that he played a part in the win, and he definitely did. But I want to see.
But
him
he's the
develop
only
as the season
factor
goes
that
forward,
changed from the losing to the winning, right?
Well,
the Chargers had
mean,
like 3 opportunities to put one drive together in the second half. I mean, this was a game more about the Chargers than it was the Giants.
Yeah, I would say that they're not winning that game if the Chargers didn't absolutely decimate, or if the Giants' defensive line didn't absolutely decimate the Chargers' offensive line, and they were shorthanded. But like to your point, it's definitely promising that they have a quarterback that's worth being excited about now. I'm not that excited that he's just a winner. That doesn't do it for me.
Well, I thought with Dart they would be much better in the red zone too with the run game, but they got the ball. They had the turnover, got the ball at the 3, kicked a field goal, gave the Chargers another chance to get down the field.
Yeah.
They kicked multiple field goals inside the 5, or 2 field goals inside the 5 in that game too.
Eli Manning didn't get his first career win until his 7th career start. So Jackson Dart has that on Eli Manning.
And what did Eli Manning ever win?
Nobody's more butthurt than me about losing to a quarterback, grown man in face paint. So
You hate to see it. Zach, what stood out to you, man?
How about Patrick Mahomes, baby? We talked about the Ravens a little bit earlier today. Earlier this season, I planted my flag on Patrick Mahomes' hill, saying he was going to be statistically the best quarterback in the NFL. That did not look good for the first 3 weeks. But this week, we saw a version of Patrick Mahomes that we haven't seen in a very long time. He threw 4 touchdowns for the first time since 2023. He becomes the youngest quarterback in NFL history to throw 250 touchdown passes. And it honestly may be as simple as Xavier Worthy is that much of a difference maker on the Chiefs offense. We've talked about it every single week. I think we've brought it up that watching Patrick Mahomes throw deep passes to Tyquan Thornton is so discouraging because we know what explosiveness he has. We've seen it from Patrick Mahomes. Xavier Worthy comes back, instantly upgrades the offense, provides that deep threat, and not just a guy that's going to go deep, which is what Tyquan Thornton is going to go deep. He just might not, he's probably not going to catch the ball. Xavier Worthy can go deep, and he can catch the ball, and he can make some run plays. I thought it was awesome to see Patrick Mahomes back like that.
There's no better time to invest in Mahomes to win MVP than right now. If Lamar Jackson misses
what about
time,
before?
Yeah, it could have been last week.
True. Yeah, before last week. But no, in terms of Lamar Jackson potentially missing time, James Cook dominating on the ground for Buffalo. That's potentially stealing some touchdowns away from Josh Allen. And Mahomes, again, having to carry the offense. They can't run the ball.
Yeah, and I mean, Rashee Rice is going to be back in a few weeks too. So this offense is going to look a lot different in the second half.
If Xavier Worthy makes this much of a difference, I think that Rashee Rice is a much better player than Xavier Worthy. And I think what a lot of people remember is the Travis Kelce role on the Chiefs offense. I think that Patrick Mahomes wants Rashee Rice to be that role where
100%.
He is going to cut people up by pitching him down there. And when you have Rice going and you have Worthy going, and then Travis Kelce moves to a third option, which is like, hey, that's a great spot for him to still cook guys on some veteran routes. I think it's really exciting.
Yeah. I'm just intrigued by Tyler's investing strategy. Don't buy the dip, buy the spike.
Well,
that's where the money gets.
The Lamar factor is definitely important, I think.
No, 100%. 100%. Yeah, no, it's great to see him cooking. He didn't get his 7th passing touchdown, Patrick Mahomes, until week 8 last year. His average depth of target is way up. It's at his highest level since 2020. We're seeing some things from the guy. Don't write him off. Yeah. Who we got? Wilk, you got another takeaway from week 4?
Yeah, probably. I mean,
you got thoughts?
Yeah.
Tell me about the Detroit.
Well, I mean, I think that we spent a lot of time all offseason just talking about how much they were facing an uphill battle to overcome the loss of their coordinators. And I think 4 games in, it's pretty safe to say that that was all severely overblown. I mean, on offense, it kind of made sense. We were talking about Ben Johnson, the hottest head coaching candidate, and as long as I can remember, I mean, he's a legitimately great play caller. But I think that all the panic on that front, looking back, was pretty disrespectful to Dan Campbell. I mean, after all, he's the guy that built everything the Lions have become. I don't think, you give all the credit to John Morton for the job that he's done in Johnson's place, but I don't think any of us should be surprised that Dan Campbell made another great hire and found a way to keep things rolling. I mean, a 34-point effort against the Browns, who I think we all agreed last week are one of the league's best defenses, despite what their record's going to be at the end of the year. That puts the Lions up to 4th in EPA per play on the season. Small sample, of course, but that's also 3 spots higher than they were this time last year. I think any panic about the Lions having missed their window, anything like that was a little overstated. I don't think they missed it at all. I think they're every bit the Super Bowl contender they've been over the last however many years.
Can I say hand up? I want to personally apologize to Dan Campbell.
Bring back that take that you had.
I had my
year.
take.
Yeah.
My take last year was that the Lions should have fired Dan Campbell and promoted Ben Johnson to head coach. Of my first ever no timeouts take. That it was a really bad take from me because Dan Campbell is an absolutely excellent head coach on every level. And I think the fact that you're starting to see the Lions institute a bunch of those similar types of trick plays and stuff like that, it's making me realize like, oh, wow, like either Dan Campbell is taking that approach from Ben Johnson, which shows what a great leader he is, or Dan Campbell was probably just involved with that the entire time and was cooking up these things. And he does a great job of also letting his offensive and defensive coordinators be offensive and defensive coordinators. A lot of times you have play callers or offensive guys come in and they take over. They do. Offensive coordinator is a full-time job. Head coach is a full-time job. You don't need to be doing both. Dan Campbell knows that, and I apologize because he is a really good head coach.
If I could nitpick one thing, it would be I would really like to see Jameson Williams break out here at some point because he hasn't done much of anything. And Dan Campbell could not stop talking about him the entire preseason leading up to the year, and he's I don't think he has more than 40 receiving yards in a single game yet this year.
There's just so many mouths to feed on that offense. It's
Amon-Ra.
The run game is
really
dominant.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Jahmyr Gibbs is just my favorite player to watch in the NFL. Watching Jahmyr Gibbs rip off huge runs is it brings a feeling that not a lot of these superstar running backs have. Like, even like, I love watching Saquon. Saquon's really fun. Obviously, we see the reverse hurdle. There's something about those guys that just are like a speeding bullet, and Jahmyr Gibbs is a speeding bullet. And it is the Lions just in general play this extremely aesthetically pleasing football.
Is it giving Barry Sanders vibes for you, or what?
It's giving like I'm trying to think exactly who it is. It's hard to say. Like, I kind of want to say like CJ2K, but there's a little bit more like. There's a little bit more like punch to it.
Right.
It's hard to compare him to anybody
like
that
Alvin
I've seen.
Kamara with a little more juice.
Yeah, it is like a little bit like those the acceleration that Alvin Kamara is like the best accelerator we've ever seen. Like, Jahmyr Gibbs is on that level.
T, what do you got?
I'm going to give Dan a good pat on the back here and start to really agree with what he talked about in the preseason, and that is the Washington Commanders are a grave concern to me. What's the difference between the Commanders and the Cowboys at this point? I mean, there could be potentially. I should say could be. I know the Cowboys are an electric offense. I think the Commanders could be an electric offense when Jaden Daniels is back and healthy. But these two teams defensively are awful. Like, we know the Cowboys are awful, but it's time to start taking into account that the Commanders' defense is just as bad. They're 30th in the league in yards per attempt. Their defensive style is much different from the Cowboys. Like, the Cowboys sit in a lot of zone, don't blitz at all. Dan Quinn's more man coverage, blitz the hell out of you. So they can confuse the numbers to be, hey, look at our pressure rate, look at our sack rate. It's a lot higher than the league average. In reality, they have to send a lot of numbers to be able to do so, but they can't defend the pass right now. They're giving up 8.7 yards per attempt. The Cowboys are 9.2. I'm concerned that this team is like the 8th, 9th best team in the NFC right now. If I listed off all the teams I think are better, I'll give you them right now. You could tell me if you disagree. Mm-hmm. So the Eagles, obviously, the Lions, the Packers, the Bucks. I missed another great team in the NFC here.
The
Rams.
The Rams. I think the Falcons just beat them. I know Jaden Daniels was gone, but I think the Falcons have a better roster.
Disagree.
Falcons also just lost 30 to nothing to the
Falcons.
Jets.
I know, but again, they made Michael Penix the very next week throws for
I'm here for the sake in general, either way.
So wait, I'm at 5. So there's
Seahawks.
The Seahawks are a team you could potentially make the argument.
I would say
these are borderline now.
The 49ers are a team that, like, they're really, really banged up. I don't really love their roster. I think there's a lot of problems. I probably wouldn't be willing to say that. I think the Vikings have a better roster. I think the Vikings are a better team.
I don't know about that. Just
there's
the discrepancy of discrepancy of the quarterback with the Vikings is huge, I think.
Yeah, but the discrepancy in terms of roster between the Vikings,
they're like
but the Vikings
is
like
in terms
gigantic.
of
there's a lot of teams
complexion.
you could also list off that are better than the Vikings, who the Vikings have a much better roster than, aside from the quarterbacks, right? Like, I think that
I would, those are all teams I would consider. I think there's at least, for me, I listed 5 that I absolutely think are better, and I think that there's. We could have the Cowboys conversation. They're basically the same team in my mind. Like, you could make the argument the Cowboys are a better team because I think offensively they're probably a little bit better, and defensively they feel like the same unit to me. I'm just really concerned about the Commanders because defensively they don't have much of any answers. They're an old team with no pass rush, and Marshawn Lattimore looks to be one of the I don't want to say it's one of the worst trades of last season, but it's not. The returns are not there for this team. And
he's like actively getting targeted by other teams.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, they're trying to take advantage of him.
Serious question. Do you have more confidence, though, in the Commanders' leadership and front office than you do in the Cowboys to rectify whatever roster issues that they have?
I like Dan Quinn. I think Dan Quinn schematically can raise the level of talent on his roster. Do I trust the Cowboys and Matt Eberflus to do that defensively? Probably not.
I think Brian Schottenheimer is like, I'm kind of impressed with Brian Schottenheimer as the head coach so far.
Their offense is great, but again, I think Washington, whether Jaden Daniels is back or not, I don't think that this is a team that's in any way insured to be a playoff team right now.
Yeah, definitely feels like a step backwards. Zachy, close out this first segment.
Speaking of the Cowboys, on Sunday night, we have one of the NFL's greatest revenge games of all time. Micah Parsons returning to Dallas. Jerry Jones is out here shooting short films to get us all hyped up for this game. We watch the game. It's absolutely incredible. Both teams going back and forth. So many storylines. Micah Parsons gets a sack to save the game. We get 40-40. We're headed to overtime. And how does this game end, Jonah? It ends in a tie. We need to abolish the tie. We cannot spend our entire Sunday night watching a football game for it to end in a 40-40 tie. I thought this was America's game. I thought we were men on a battlefield. We're ending in a tie. What is the point? You ever sit around with your buddies like, oh, hey, remember that old Dolphins-Bills 16-16 tie that happened in Week 5? No, it's completely unmemorable. It's completely unreasonable. Abolish the tie. Stop it now.
Should we go to college-style overtime? Is that what you're advocating?
What do you think, Wilkie? Do you think we should go to college rules?
I mean, the tie happens, like once every 3 years?
I couldn't believe when you said it hadn't happened since 2022.
2022?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, the tie just does not happen that much for me to be willing to extend games even longer than they are and just put players at risk even more than they already are. So I mean, I get it. I don't love ties either, but also, that shouldn't have been a tie because the last second hung on the clock for 5 seconds or whatever it was like that.
Yeah, that was the longest second of all time.
I don't know. I wouldn't love the college format in the NFL. I like seeing defense, although I guess
the same time.
What about college for regular season
anyway.
and then go to keep the playoffs the
That's an
same? So you
interesting
do
proposal.
sudden death overtime in the playoffs, play as many quarters as you want because you need those games settled. But it's like how the NHL does shootouts in the regular season and then does regular overtime.
Major League Baseball uses the Ghost Runner.
But at
Exactly,
the same time,
like
we could have
regular
just.
season.
This is the result of everyone clamoring that both teams need a shot in OT. If you do that, then
That's
the
actually
tie
so
is more
true.
likely.
This
That's
is
kind of the-
this is
It
what
was a
happens when
direct
you,
consequence of that rule that everybody
100%.
was so
You're only playing
adamant
10
about.
minutes. That's
Yeah.
not a lot of time.
everyone gets a chance now, and honestly, 10 minutes should be enough for you if you're scoring 40 points in a game to go.
Right, but as soon as the second, if they score, if that first team scores, let's say they score in 3 or 4 minutes, 6 minutes, if you're an efficient offense like these two teams were in this game, you can effectively burn out clock and score. The 10 minutes is if you want it to be, if it's two good offensive teams, you can make that 2 possessions and the game will be over. That's kind of
That's
the
true.
thing.
I also think it's a bit of a gutless move by Matt LaFleur at the end of the game to go for the tie.
Well, I think it was more
if you're-
gutless by Schottenheimer to not try to score when they had the ball inside of the 3 or something.
Yeah, but I agree with that as well. But I think
LaFleur's not going
when
to
I'm
throw it
coaching-
from the 15. They were at the
It
were
was
they?
4th and 12 or something,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
when I'm coaching my Madden teams, and listen, I've got a dynasty going on right now. I never play for the tie. We're going, if it's 4th down on overtime, we're going for the touchdown. You got to go don't play for a tie. It just sends the wrong message to your team. It's un-American, and I won't accept it.
Do you also get fired from your dynasty team to keep your offensive coordinator?
Interviews with your dynasty team?
You both make good points. Scared money don't make money, but there's no job insecurity concerns when you're playing Madden. Great stuff, boys. Now it's time for a little segment called Pump Your Tires, presented by Kal Tire. Check your tire pressure for free at every location. Gents, we're going to do some tire pumping ourselves right now. I want each of you to give an unheralded or under-recognized player or a coach who, as we approach the season's 1/4 mark, deserves more love, more attention, more kudos, more everything. Wilk, whose tires do you want to pump? You have the stage.
I mean, look, given your intro there, this is going to sound weird because I don't think Puka Nacua needs his tires pumped at this point. He's a pretty well-established superstar, but at the same time, I don't think anyone truly realizes how good he actually is and how insane his start to the season has been. Through 4 games, I think he has 42 catches for 503 yards or something like that. Either way, he's on pace, a 17-game pace for something like 178 catches and over 2,100 yards. Both would absolutely blow past the single-season records. It's still early, but this is how good this guy is, and this is how good he's been since the moment he stepped on the field as a 5th-round pick in 2023. I think over that 3-year stretch, he's the only receiver in the NFL to top 3 yards per route run. I think Nico Collins is second, and it's a pretty big gap between the two. I know every list of receiver rankings tends to start with Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. I'm not so sure we're not missing the actual number 1 here. I know that might be a little controversial, but this guy is so good, man. I know all systems are different. All systems are a little different. We have different situations, but
Well, I think
he's
you also
so good.
have to consider the fact that they add Devontae Adams, and you watch the game on Sunday, you're like, oh, that's 17 guy. Good, finally made a play. Who's that? Like it feels like you don't even notice Devontae Adams on the field because Nacua is making every single play for this. I was watching on Sunday, and I thought the exact same thing you said. I'm like, should we be talking about him being the best receiver in the NFL?
I know if you're like a fantasy football player, as like literally everyone is, you probably want more touchdowns, and that's fair. And you may not get them with Devontae there this year. Like he's the red zone guy, but like the numbers in just targets and catches and yards are literally obscene. This might be a record-setting season that no one ever tops.
It's crazy, and what is even more mind-blowing is this is how he started out in 2023. Through his first 4 games in 2023, he had more than 500 receiving yards, which is absolutely bananas. He is such, I think, an under-recognized stud because he is kind of in the shadow of those guys, but let's put it to the test. We're going to do a quick little game of Would You Rather, Puka Nacua edition. You got to tell me which wide receiver you'd rather have. Wilk, you're up first. Would you rather have Puka Nacua or Jamar Chase?
Holy crap.
Come on. Oh, my
Coming
gosh.
in
Cook
hot.
it with gas right away.
All gas, no brakes, baby.
Can I have like 20 minutes to think about it?
Yeah, sure. We got time.
I mean, I don't care. Give me Puka. He's
Wow.
over the course of a season, if he puts up 2,000 yards, I mean, it's not going to look like a bad take. So
I'll
call him number 1 right now.
All right, T, who would you rather have, Puka Nacua or Justin Jefferson?
I'm going to say Justin Jefferson.
Whew, thank God.
You said that with very little conviction.
Yeah, I know, but I do think that Jefferson put in the same position could do the same type of things. I think he's the most like pure talent there is in the league.
Okay. Zach, who would you rather have, Puka Nacua or Amon-Ra St. Brown?
Oh, I love Amon-Ra St. Brown, but it's Puka Nacua. I think by a pretty decent margin in that one. I just think Puka's a little bit more explosive of a player, and as good as Amon-Ra is, like Puka might also be as reliable as Amon-Ra is. So,
Can Puka Nacua speak German? I don't know.
Or be up playing 2K till 4:30 in the morning.
Hey,
I saw that too. I saw that too.
Wilk,
Before you ask me if we've already gone through these first 3, the answer's Puka Nacua.
I'm confident he'll probably be the answer for the next few, but we'll see. Who would you rather have, Puka Nacua or Nico Collins?
Puka.
Who would you rather have, Puka Nacua or Roma Dunze?
Puka Nacua, that's not really a conversation.
The last one. Who would you rather have, Puka Nacua or Jackson Smith and Jigba?
Puka Nacua. JSN's good, but Puka Nacua is great.
Yeah.
I believe JSN has, I might be wrong here, I think he might have the exact same yards per route run this year. I think they're both over 4.
He's been ridiculous.
They've been ridiculous, but I do think that Puka Nacua has a little more upside.
All right. Back to tire pumping. T, who do you like?
All right, we're going to start the propaganda right here.
Start the propaganda.
Yeah, well, yeah. Some people probably haven't heard it yet. Get the sports book out. Let's get ready to place a wager because I don't know why this guy is not one of the favorites to win Defensive Player of the Year. I had to scroll my phone to find where Derwin James is in the Defensive Player of the Year voting. This guy has played every position on the field. Defensive line rushing the passer. He has 1.5 sacks the last 2 games in which they've been missing Khalil Mack. He's playing at linebacker, filling gaps in the run game and making plenty. He has 5 TFLs to start the year. He's obviously, everyone knows him as a safety. He's roaming the field there. He's playing in coverage on the boundary. He's playing out of the slot. He is doing absolutely everything for the Chargers defense. He's 29 years old, and he might be playing the best. He might be having the best season of his career right now, and that is something that's extremely rare for a safety to be able to do because a lot of defensive backs you see deteriorate once they get close to 30. Derwin James is an incredible talent. He's one of my favorite players to just key in on and watch for like 5-10 snaps or an entire series and just watch the way he roams the field because he is. We talk about Jesse Minter and the way he's changed this defense, but the way he uses Derwin James all over the field is so impressive. And Derwin just seems to be one of those guys defensively that people kind of forget about. That currently where we're at in terms of the Defensive Player of the Year nominees, he should definitely be one.
I don't disagree at all. Derwin's one of my favorite players, but when was the last time a safety won Defensive Player of the Year?
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the
Bob
battle
Sanders?
that he's facing. Like, unless you have a bunch of interceptions, which I guess like that's not
don't
doesn't
think he has
really
any
define
yet, right?
whether he's
Yeah.
a good player, obviously. But I think that's going to be the battle for him to win because it always by default just goes to a guy who has 1 million sacks or I guess
Or
last year
Patrick
like a
Surtain.
corner who's like known as a shutdown guy regardless of interceptions. But a safety has a bit more difficult of a battle there.
But Jim Harbaugh, he called him the best safety he's ever seen, which is
he said the best safety he's ever seen, and then I could be wrong on this, but I think he apologized in a press conference the next day and said he's actually the best football player I've ever seen of any position. Like
that is lofty praise, and I don't think Jim Harbaugh would throw that around like
No, it's you are right though. Like he's gonna fill the stat sheets in so many places, but he's not gonna have something that he leads in. But again, I think that's also at the same time a testament to like a player that can play all like. We talk about guys that can play on both sides of the field, offense and defense, but being able to play every position on defense is just so impressive.
That's the thing. I don't think he has an interception, a forced fumble, or a fumble recovery, but obviously those stats can't encapsulate everything he's doing. He was an all-pro back in 2018 as a rookie, but to your point, it does seem like he's playing the best football of his career right now. Zachy, whose tires are you pumping?
All right, I'm going to pump a little pump.
Get it in there. Yeah.
Get those PSIs up for my boy Liam Cohen, who has obviously done a great job as a coach this year, but this is not even about the coaching job that he's done this year. Earlier in the week, Robert Saleh accused Liam Cohen, accused is a bit of a harsh word, but he said that Liam Cohen was legally stealing signals. He's accusing them of intercepting what the defense is doing and adjusting based off that. Liam Cohen, when he was asked about that, was, I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about that. But then the reporters really started to push him, and he was like, hey, listen, we have a really good game plan. We're doing the right things. Basically saying, hey, Robert Saleh, shut your mouth. Go get your tires changed because I'm driving 4 wheels over here all day, and we got the offense rolling in exactly the right way we want it to be rolling. So what does Liam Cohen do? He goes down, he beats the San Francisco 49ers and Robert Saleh, shuts him up, and then Robert Saleh is walking towards the field to go and, say hello to Liam Cohen. Liam Cohen has to literally be restrained, and he's saying, keep your name out my mouth. He doesn't want to fight
Robert Saleh.
He does
not.
That would be an
ass kicking.
Liam Cohen wants to know where the rubber hits the road with Robert Saleh. That's what he wants to know. He'll fight him. I don't
think he wants that smoke, but
Robert Saleh is probably wins the
Royal
Rumble of NFL coaches.
Yeah, it'd be like him and Mike Vrabel. That would be the end of list.
Dan Campbell too. But
Dan Campbell.
Yeah. Those are some thick necklace coaches.
Yeah.
I want to have the larger conversation of what I don't know what the ceiling is for Jacksonville. Like going into the year, if you told me that the worst part about the Jags 4 weeks into the season is their quarterback, I would be shocked.
The defense has been awesome.
How? How? There's no talent in the secondary.
Yeah.
How are they doing this? How did they lead the league in takeaways like this? Is that luck? Are the tables going to turn and they're going to stop? Are they getting lucky with the takeaways? Are the tables going to turn and all of a sudden once they stop turning the ball over, they're going to get lit up defensively? And then in 2 weeks, I'm going to come to you guys with Travis Etienne stats that will blow your mind. I'm going to be like, this guy has he almost has more yards of rushes of 10-plus yards already than he did the entire year last year.
Yeah. Wow.
He almost has as many missed tackles forced right now than he did the entire year last year. Like, I don't know how this is happening.
Liam Cohen's had the exact same effect on the run game that he had upon getting to Tampa Bay last year. And even if the defense takes a bit of a step back, which I think is probably fair to expect given what they have on paper, I think it's probably only a matter of time before they start finding ways to get the ball in the hands of Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter, which still hasn't happened, and the offense has been good anyway. I don't get it, but I think I'm kind of in on them.
Liam Cohen is out-coaching his opponents, and he's somehow out-coaching Trevor Lawrence. Like, whatever failures Trevor Lawrence has, Liam Cohen is figuring out ways to work around it in a way that gets them to still win the games.
Because they have a decent pass. Like, I kind of like their pass rush. Like, I don't think it's a bad group up front. They've, for years now, been a solid group in the front seven to be able to stop the run. The secondary's always been the problem, and the secondary's somehow been the best part of the entire team this year. It's crazy.
It's crazy. Winning in spite of your quarterback and still having a totally adequate offense in spite of your quarterback it's rare. It's maybe not sustainable, but they have played some really good, surprisingly good all-around football this year. Gentlemen, great stuff. That was Pump Your Tires, presented by Kal Tire. Check your tire pressure for free at every location. All right, boys, it's time to go back to the well. You know what well I'm talking about. The well of the subreddits. Our boy Zachy did some excavating on various teams' subreddit pages after week 1, and our fearless, intrepid investigator dove back in following this week's slate of games to see how the fans of various teams are holding up 4 games in. Zachy, What'd you find?
Well, this segment is sweeping the nation. Like, people have not stopped talking about subreddit meltdown since we've seen it. It's a really sad thing to do. I don't want to do this. I'm sorry that I'm taking these personal safe spaces of teams and exposing them to the world. But I almost want the message out there. I want the teams to know how their fans are feeling.
You're amplifying voices.
Exactly. Yeah. So we're going to start with the Tennessee Titans. Obviously, they lost 26-0 to the Houston Texans. Brutal. User Quick Killings said, we lost 26-0 to an 0-3 team. I wish I had bleach to drink, which we do not recommend or endorse here on the No Timeouts podcast. We had a user, Titan Yankee, who I guess is a Titans and a Yankees fan. That sucks. He says, I've never seen a worse team, and that's coming from a Yankees fan. So that's crazy. Ownership, the entire coaching staff, the personnel, everything. We are a dumpster fire on all levels. I bet they serve awful food in the cafeteria, and the bathroom smells like piss.
I mean, to be fair, that's probably not unique to the Titans. You know, that's what bathrooms are for.
If anywhere is going to smell like piss,
you hope it's the bathroom. Yeah. You hope it's the bathroom.
The cafeteria, I don't know why the cafeteria workers got to take a shot, though.
Yeah, they're catching
strays.
Hey,
listen, the NFLPA grades that at the end of every season.
Do
the Titans could be high on the cafeteria. I don't have the information, but you could just simple Google.
Exactly.
I'll track those advanced stats and give them to you by the end of the year. Coming up next, we got the Browns. The Browns are, they're the Browns. We had user Zeke Moss 18, and he said, I've been through 1-31 and all that, but the level of hate and aggravation I feel for this team now is immense, which is crazy to me. How is this the most hate and aggravation you felt to a Browns team? They've been bad since they came back.
But also, you're feeling more mad now than when they were rolling out Deshaun Watson?
Over and over.
What?
Maybe
I don't get this one.
Maybe it's cumulative. You know what I mean?
Did you expect to be competitive with the Lions this week? What?
Yeah.
Is it that you think you think the roster's so good, but you still have to just watch another
Flacco?
Quarterback that isn't going to be the answer? I don't know.
Well, speaking of Joe Flacco, we had Slim Pickle 97. He said, I'm sorry, but it's football terrorism if Joe Flacco starts next week. And that's a harsh word, but I'm a Jets fan, and we had a season where we played Joe Flacco, and playing like a 38-year-old Joe Flacco on your team that is going to have the first overall pick really is one of the worst experiences in football.
I mean, if it's going to help you get the first overall pick, I think it might be a net positive. I would not be excited about starting Joe Flacco either, but I think if Browns fans think Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders are going to be any better right now, just no.
Well, you know who could have been better for the Browns in this situation? Somebody that John MD20 pointed out. He says, as Baker is trying to complete his fourth last comeback of the season, we have to watch this team. It's unfair.
This is a fair point.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? That's, just disheartening that must be for Browns fans to watch Baker Mayfield be Baker Mayfield in another city. It's not even just that he's good. It's that he is tailor-made for Browns fans.
He's got the sauce, and they're utterly sauceless in Cleveland, have been for a long time.
Exactly. Speaking of sauceless, Jonah, we've got the Carolina Panthers.
Oh, buddy.
Coming up next. Another team absolutely sauceless. We got Doc Socks, and he says, this season is cooked, but it's really important to remember we have absolutely no chance of being good next year either.
See, now this is the perspective. This is realistic expectations.
Exactly. You got to love that. And user Pile Kush, he says, I love that some hedge fund manager bought my favorite team and then completely ruined it on an atomic level, which is really, I think that perfectly sums up the Carolina Panthers at this point. It's when you have the bad ownership paired with the bad team, it gets really, really treacherous.
I saw some hype for the Panthers heading into the season, some real optimism, and I wasn't really sure why. I mean, I understood the optimism around Bryce Young after his second half last year, but the rest of the team is not it.
Are we pulling the plug on the Panthers yet? Are we trying to draft a quarterback this year or what?
I mean, I would safely say so. I was just going to ask about Canales. So hopefully, I don't think Canales is the reason that this team stinks, but
no.
There could be a chance that he's. I don't know how many coaches they've had in the last 5 years.
I think given
3, 4?
Given the quality of quarterbacks in this draft, which is to say, is not great. I think you can probably justify sticking with Bryce for another year just to see what happens and actually building around him a little bit. I mean, they got T-Mac this year in the draft, and he's been awesome.
Yeah. They
have nothing else aside from maybe it looks a little different when Jalen Coker gets back from his injury, but I I don't know that they drafted. They just have to make the roster so much better.
Yeah,
and it's going to take a long
so
time to make it happen.
Yeah. Were you here when we talked when I listed off all the horrific draft picks that the Panthers have
my
made?
God!
No, I missed that.
It was disgusting.
Oh, like Jonathan, second rounders like Jonathan Mingo.
We don't need to read.
Yeah.
We don't need to read.
We don't need to. The Panthers fans have been through enough.
Yeah, exactly. Zach, you got another one for us?
So I got the last one
Let's
here.
go.
This is a team that is really surprising to see on the subreddit meltdown list. It's the Baltimore Ravens.
Wow.
They lost, obviously, to the Chiefs this weekend. There's a lot of panic going on. User 11xx1 says, no one shuts down Derrick Henry like the Ravens do, a point that Wilkie brought up earlier this week. User Nevermore Nicola says, I'll remember you all in therapy. You're a Ravens fan, by the way. So don't start acting like, oh my God, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to us.
Yeah.
We have to go to therapy. We're Ravens fans. We won 2 Super Bowls in the last 20 years and still have one of the greatest quarterbacks in the entire world. We got the Titans and the Panthers and the Browns on this list. And then this is the last one that I want to bring up to the guys. It's a little bit of a question for you, this comment. It's from user Ray Dragons. And he says, fire John Harbaugh. I'm not asking. And this was the most common sentiment in the Browns subreddit following the game, that they need to get rid of John Harbaugh. What do you guys think?
No. I mean,
For what reason?
yeah, if you were going to get rid of John Harbaugh, it would be to trade him to a team that would give up draft picks to have a coach like this. You don't. No.
Because what are there, like 25
than-
teams that would want John Harbaugh immediately?
I mean, his coaching trees all over the league.
This has been one of the best teams in football for his entire tenure. No, it doesn't make sense. But
It's a lot of like, we should never have let Mike McDonald go. That's a lot. That's a huge sentiment in the Ravens.
That's a testament to John Harbaugh, though.
I also don't understand the first comment. No one shuts down Derrick Henry like the Ravens do. Like,
Well, he only had
short-term
he had like 8
memory.
carries.
He only had 8 carries.
Yeah.
I get it, but
Yeah.
like, first of all, like, it's not the Ravens' fault that he's had butterfingeritis
Yeah.
early on the season, and he
That's
had
fair.
1,900 rushing yards last year. Like,
Yeah.
there's a little short-term memory issue going on, and that's what I guess a 1-3 start will do to you. But man, let's
Let's take a couple deep breaths, Ravens fan, before
Yeah.
we hop in the post game thread on.
we talked
Reddit.
about pump the tires. Let's pump the brakes. a
Yeah,
little bit,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Jeez
yeah.
Louise. All right, great stuff, Zachy.
Thank
You're
you.
truly fearless. Gents, before we go home, I want to tee up this week's slate of games, but we're going to do something a little different. Rather than just have you each pick your games of the week, I'm going to challenge you to construct your perfect day of football. I need each of you to build a lineup of a 1 o'clock game, a 4 o'clock game, and a primetime game, but here's the catch. We're going to do it as a draft, snake-style draft. You're each going to choose one game in each time slot, and I will determine, when it's all said and done, who has constructed the best Week 5 of football. Draft order is going to go Tyler, Wilkins, Zach, T, you're on the clock in the perfect week of football draft. Who you got first?
All right, there's some strategy because, there might be some good games. I will say, between the college football slate and the NFL slate, this is probably a apple-picking pumpkin patch weekend with the family.
Not the best
How
week of
dare you?
We're on pumpkin patch
Some
watch.
people have to do that, you've got family, you know what it's like.
Also playoff baseball on the
Yeah,
Sunday
or I was going
and
to say, if
Saturday.
you're Jonah, it could be playoff baseball time. I'm going to go with a primetime game that I am interested in, but more interested in because I do think the Rams are about to show the league that they are the best team in the NFC. And I also think the 49ers are a team very much on the downswing. But I'm going to go with the Thursday nighter. The Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay matchup is always one that people are interested in. But I think this is an opportunity for the Rams to really put their mark on the NFC. I think they're the best team in the NFC, and it sounds silly saying that because they lost to the Eagles. But I think the Rams are the team to beat in the NFC the rest of the way.
Any rebuttal to that? Because that is a bold statement. I'll give you a quick 15 seconds for a rebuttal.
It definitely sounds weird given the most
they just
recent
lost,
result,
yeah.
but I don't hate it.
Okay. You're on the clock. All right, so T went with 49ers Rams in prime time. We got one primetime game off the clock. Dan, you're on the
I'm
clock.
going to start by taking the best 4 p.m. game and go with Seahawks-Bucks.
Nice.
I think these teams are both way better than anyone realizes, and I think they're just a really interesting matchup for each other. I think the Seahawks play phenomenal defense. I'm interested to see the Bucks offense against that. And
Former Carolina Panthers teammates going head-to-head, Baker Mayfield
and
and
Sam Darnold.
oh, yeah, I didn't even think about that.
I'm ready to see Sam Darnold face a much better test.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that this is that much better of a test.
Well, blitz, good pass rush. Hassan Reddick's had a good year.
Yeah.
Obviously, the secondary is not great, but good scheme.
Yeah, I agree. I'm really excited about this game, and I think this is by far the best late afternoon slot. So I'll take that one. Off
Okay,
the board.
so-
Also, it's a game where you put the game on the shoulders of Darnold because Tampa Bay's run defense is so good.
Yeah, I mean, that'll be a good test for I think he's been great this year. Like, I think he's kind of silenced any concerns I had about him coming out of the Kevin O'Connell system. But if he does that against when it's all on his shoulders, I think that'll kind of become the prevailing opinion league-wide.
Okay, so we got one primetime game off the board, one 4 o'clock game off the board. Zach, you're on the clock, and you get 2 picks, remember. We're doing snake style. You get 2 picks in a row.
You got to love this. I think the 1 p.m. games, it's a pretty lame 1 p.m. slate.
Yeah.
And you want to get the week started off right. So I'm trying to get my Sunday started off right. I'm going with Broncos, Eagles. Yeah. I think that's the best game in the 1 p.m. I always love a revealer game, and this is the ultimate revealer game for the Denver Broncos. They obviously completely trounced the Cincinnati Bengals last week. They played a really close game with the Colts that during the time you kind of thought like, oh, do the Broncos suck because they just lost to the Colts? But now it's kind of looking like, are the Broncos good because they played the Colts that well in that week? So I think having them test against the Eagles, who always find a way to get it done, especially at the end of the game, will be really interesting to see what the Broncos do.
And then you got another pick. You got the first 1 o'clock game off the board, and you got another pick.
And then I'm taking... We pumped his tires earlier this week. I want to see my boy Liam Cohen cook against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. So give me Chiefs, Jags. I think that's the most fun primetime game of the schedule. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes, I'd love to see him have another huge game. Love to watch. I want some time with the Jaguars. I want to sit there and like really focus in and hone in on what they're doing, to what T-Mac was talking about before, to really get a sense of like what this team is.
I'm picking up what you're putting down. Dan, you're on the clock.
So hate to do this to you, Zachy, but love the Broncos-Eagles pick, but you made a huge strategic error here in taking the second primetime game off the board when the final 2, I would argue, are equally as good. So now I get to wait till the very end for my primetime game. So I'm going to go back to the 1 o'clock slate and take a game that does not have high stakes at all. But who cares about that when you could be having another 40-40 tie in the end? That is Cowboys and Jets. I think this is going to look a lot like that week 1 game between the Jets and the Steelers did. A lot of offense.
That was electric.
No defense. This could be a game where Justin Fields pops off both as a runner and as a passer just because the Cowboys are that bad on defense. So, yeah, if you like points and if you like fantasy points in particular, I think this is one you're probably going to be interested in.
If you like football, unfortunately, you're going to have to watch the New York Jets play. They haven't instituted the forward pass on their offense yet. I am a Jets fan, and I will not be watching that game. So I'm glad to have missed that.
0-4 start. I understand tuning out a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
T, you got 2 picks in a row.
Okay, this first one's easy for me. The 4 p.m. slate. Again, we got a few less games now with teams on bye too. There's even less to work with. I think this Chargers-Commanders matchup, especially if Jaden Daniels is available to play, should be very good. I think this is a really good matchup for the Chargers to get back right because we just talked about the Commanders' inability to rush the passer, and that should really help the Chargers' offensive line that is currently, as constructed with Joel's injury, the worst in the entire National Football League. I don't even think it's a conversation because Bradley Bozeman and Zion Johnson, the only 2 healthy guys left, and those were 2 guys that a lot of Chargers fans were hoping weren't going to be on the team heading into this season. Bradley Bozeman is the worst graded center in the entire NFL. So hopefully for their offense, this could be a chance for them to move the ball more efficiently, run the ball well with Marion Hampton after the good week last week, and then we'll see how Washington's good offense can handle the Chargers' really good defense. Second pick, what do I got left? I got the 1 p.m. slate left.
Yeah, you need a 1 o'clock game.
This game on paper would be good if the Ravens are going to be somewhat healthy. You got Ravens-Texans and the Texans. The Ravens, I know, when this game opened, were like a large favorite. I think almost 10-point favorite. We'll see if Lamar Jackson's available to play. But if the Ravens aren't healthy up front, it could really help Houston and their offense if they can't rush the passer, because that's obviously the biggest gripe with Houston offensively is their protection. So this game, I think, could be good, really good, if Lamar plays and the Texans offense can move the ball.
Dan?
I'm going to finish it off with the last primetime game. As I said earlier, I think this is just as good as any primetime game this week, the Bills and the Patriots. The Bills are the Bills. Obviously, they're always worth watching in primetime. But the Patriots are quietly better than I think a lot of people realize. They're quickly trending in the right direction. Drake May has been...
They're a team we could have talked about this week. They had like an impressive week.
I mean, it was the Panthers, right?
Yeah.
But like,
They lost to Dan's Raiders. Let's not give them too much.
but like I think the point I'm making there is like they're they're slowly trending where I think we all expected them to get to eventually under Mike Vrabel and with Drake May. Drake May has quietly been one of the better quarterbacks in the league so far this season, and I think him doing what he's done so far in a big spot on Monday night, is it?
Yeah.
Against the Bills would really pump up the hype train.
No, it's Sunday night. This game's Sunday night.
Oh, is it Sunday night? Okay.
Zach,
I said
close
yes.
it out.
I said yes to that, and I had no idea what the answer was. Why did I say yes to something
it
I
till you
have
make it, brother.
no idea what the answer was to that
Fine.
question?
Just say it with confidence. People will believe you. What do you got? Close it out.
I got the 4 p.m. slate. I did not. I really messed up on the 4 p.m. slate because these games are bad. I guess I'll go with Titans and Cardinals.
Just a quick follow-up.
Tennessee Titans?
Titans and Cardinals. I think
Chance for a win? Is that what we're thinking here?
it's a little bit of a chance for a win. It's like maybe a goodbye final swan song to Brian Callahan. I'll miss him forever.
Okay.
Good to see him go.
All right.
I also kind of like. I'm really enjoying the Cam Ward experience, not necessarily on the football field, but off the football field.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys heard, but he said, he had an interview after the game, and they were like, "What do you think about the team?" He's like, "If we keep it at a buck, we ass."
Yeah.
And that graphic is just going to go just
That's really
generationally
funny.
platinum for the rest of time. It's going to actually probably outlast his career. So I like Cam Ward. I think he's a really interesting guy, and I unfortunately had to choose a game. So.
What was your other option at 4 o'clock?
The other 4
Go for a
o'clock-
walk.
Yeah.
Do the Raiders play at home this week against the Colts? Is that the other one? Or is
No,
that
they're
at
on the
1
road
o'clock?
against the
Okay, so
Colts,
it's a 1
yeah.
o'clock.
No,
game.
the other 4
Wasn't gonna
o'clock
be
game.
picking that one.
It's like absolutely heinous. It is. Oh, it's the Lions and the Bengals.
Okay.
Which, like, I guess you could be interested in the
yeah.
Lions. I am not interested in. We had to watch the Bengals on primetime last night. I can't watch Jake Browning play football anymore.
It was bad.
Everything about that team. You don't
So,
watch.
yeah, it's really tough determining who's constructed the most perfect weekday of football because you each have one game that's like pretty unwatchable. Titans, Cardinals. I'm not at all interested in Cowboys, Jets. I'm not. I guess.
hates
I guess.
points.
Nah. I mean, there's just the stakes are so low. I guess you have, in terms of pure watchability, the most interesting games. But if Lamar Jackson doesn't play, and it looks like he's not going to, I'm not at all interested in watching Texans-Ravens. I got to make a choice, though.
Tyler had a good strategy of the 1 p.m. There's the most amount of games. He saved his 1 p.m. till his last pick.
Yeah.
Smart move.
I know, but Baltimore absent Lamar, that's just like two pretty bad teams playing.
I don't disagree with that.
All right, who am
You're
I
a
going
Bucs
with?
fan, aren't
mean,
you? Just
listen,
pick
I
one.
am a Bucs fan, but those are like kind of like the the non-Super Bowl contending solid teams in the NFC.
Dan's got the safest. He doesn't have the. I don't think. Do you have the best of any?
You know
slate,
what?
though?
In spite of how atrocious his 4 p.m. game is, I'm giving this to Zach.
Let's go.
Oh,
baby.
Giving it to Zach
Let's go.
because I think
Wow.
Chiefs Jags could be the
Ooh,
game of the week.
electric.
I'm very interested to see how Patrick Mahomes performs following his best game of the season, how the Jags continue to fare against a really, really tough opponent. And I think, to your point, we're going to learn some stuff about the Broncos this week.
Hold on.
No, this is because
hold on,
Jonah
hold
wants
on.
to watch baseball. at
Yeah,
4
this is
p.m.
a conspiracy. The Jays, to be clear, the Jays play at 3 o'clock on Sunday, don't they?
I will not be taking questions at this time.
All right.
Yeah, I got to give it to Zach. I just think Cowboys Jets is too uninteresting. Patriots Bills is probably going to be not that competitive of a game. And yeah, Texans, I think the real X factor is Texans Ravens. If Lamar plays, you probably would take it, but I can't bank on that right now, so I'm giving it to Zach. Zach has just constructed the perfect week of football. We just constructed the perfect episode of No Timeouts, presented by Kal Tire, Canada's destination for Nitto tires. Once again, that's Zak McDonald, that's Dan Wilkins, that's Tyler MacKillop. My name is Jonah Birenbaum. We'll see you next time.